What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check it out without a doubt now. I'm going to leave a lot of my comments at the end, but, you know, I got to pause and say something every now and then. Carl Thomas, man, was signed to Puffy. There's a lot of artists that are saying things about Puffy way before all this happened, that Puffy was signed artists, and the artists their careers never go real far. Like Carl Thomas, for example. Tonya Blaunt is on this video right here. Now, I did some dealings, a little bit of dealings with with Carl Thomas, but Tonya Blount is from my area. Tonya Blount, when she was in high school, used to be on my back porch with her little band, her little all-girl go-go band, and I had a little go-go practice spot. You know, I was always into music and stuff, right? And I heard her sing. I was like, man, this girl can sing. She can rip. And she said to me, I told her about the big people that I know, Night Flight Studios. I'm trying to be like everybody else and don't say nobody's name. And I said, I need to introduce you to some serious people. And she said, yeah, but I'm going to wait till I get out of high school and graduate. Once I graduate, then I'm going to start my music career. That's what she said. She didn't say I was going to try to start my music career. She said, I will start my music career once I get out of high school. And she has a brother also, Willie Blunt. He can rip and sing also. They started doing gospel and different things. But anyway, Tonya got signed to Bad Boy Records. And my crew that I was producing with and everything, we produced a couple of songs and everything for Tonya Blount. Through the Rain and all this stuff, and y'all can look all this stuff up. I ain't trying to make myself look bigger or anything. I'm just telling you like it was. I was there. And next thing you know, Tonya took off to New York. You know, I don't know what happened up there. She was with Bad Boy. She married some dude that I think, you know, they got divorced and all that type of stuff, but now she's remarried and all this. So, and I run into her every now and then. I would love to call her because no matter what, they never said anything about the record deal or how she lost it or what happened and everything. But she came back different. She was like a sad person. Y'all can look Tonya Blount up. Tonya Blount was on Sister Act, the #2 and everything. And they're going to show all this. So y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. I'm going to bring you the facts. I am never going to try to sugarcoat anything. Let's just check it out.
Carl Thomas is finally opening up about his days as a bad boy artist. Carl Thomas is finally opening up about his days as a bad boy artist, and his story sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood nightmare. In his prime, Carl Thomas was really that guy. Unbelievable aura, deep, soulful lyrics, and a silky smooth voice. He had it all, and he should have become the next big thing. However, Carl found himself broke and struggling to establish himself as a serious artist under Bad Boy Records. Rumor has it that Diddy kept Carl under a very oppressive deal that left him scrambling for scraps, while Diddy and the label made millions off him. When you add that to the personal tragedies Carl also experienced in his life, it's no surprise that his career fell off the way it did. But did Diddy really drive Carl Thomas crazy by keeping him under his thumb? Would Carl's career have been any different if he never ended up in Diddy's camp? Carlton Neron Thomas, who we all know as Carl Thomas, was born June 15, 1972, in Aurora, Illinois. Carl started doing music at a young age, and he mostly sang around in small community events around his hometown. He soon joined a singing group called The Formula, and together they continued singing and performing in Chicago. But as time went on, Carl felt an itch to go to the big city and seek better opportunities. So he left his hometown and headed for the glitz and bright lights of New York City and started performing at clubs and open mic nights in small gatherings because, well, you never know who is watching. His efforts paid off eventually because during one of his performances, he caught the eye of award-winning producer Puff Daddy or Diddy and Brother Love. Diddy liked what he heard, and he thought Carl would fit right in with Bad Boy Records. Diddy signed Carl Thomas in 1997, and in many ways, it was the beginning of a new and exciting phase for Carl. Carl had had some not-so-great experiences with record labels before Diddy signed him. For example, he had previously been signed to Epic Records when he was still part of the singing group The Formula, but the group's debut album got shelved, and they eventually disbanded. So, when Diddy took a liking to him, he was looking forward to something different this time. However, he spent his first 3 years doing backup and background vocals for other more established bad boy artists, including Faith Evans, the Notorious B.I.G., LL Cool J, and Noriega.
I did work with Faith Evans also, more on the live side in concerts and tours and different things. So I was a sound man with Faith, and dang, young, I was trying my best to get close as I could to do music full time, you know, in this music industry, man. So Faith Evans is another person that I did some work with also.
Was also featured on the remix of Been Around the World as part of a new crop of bad boy artists. Behind the scenes, though, Carl was struggling to fit in with the cutthroat energy at Bad Boy. According to him, Diddy made all the artists compete with each other all the time.
What was the atmosphere being in and around Bad Boy? He described you as a Marvin Gaye of Bad Boy at one point.
Yeah, it was really it was a situation that I feel like it was tailor-made for me, because it was really competitive, and you know, I just kind of took everything as competition at that time. You know what I mean? My attitude, you know, performing on shows with different artists is, I love you. Coming to get you.
Yeah. But everybody was like that.
But yeah, back then, that's really, you know, how I felt. And if you've ever been to Daddy's house, at that time, there was constant energy and coming out of every room. You go, you know what I mean, to the left in the A room, and you know, Big was finishing something in there. You go to the little room in the middle, which we call the MIDI room, and you got a bunch of guys in there doing things. And you go to Studio B on your right, and you had Stevie J in there just, you know, bang, 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 bang. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at that time, everybody wanted to be around that energy, that competitive energy, and they was going for each other's throats. I mean, you know, we in the same crew and everything, but I need to get my record.
I think we can all agree that at this point, it was obvious Carl had a talent that the world needed to see. But Diddy dragged his feet in pushing Carl's career forward. According to an
Stevie J put a video out saying that Puffy is an upstanding citizen, law-abiding, and all that type of stuff, and we are law-abiding citizens. So far, we ain't heard anything else from him since Diddy been 3 strikes on the appeal.
Insider, Carl got broke just waiting for Diddy to finally pay attention to him. They said, I remember when Carl was signed to Bad Boy for a long time and used to hang out with me in Brooklyn. He was broke just from waiting to have his album put out. Carl didn't get his time to shine until 2000, when Diddy finally signed off on the release of his debut single, I Wish, which would go on to top the R&B charts for 6 consecutive weeks. At a time when rap and hip-hop was all the rage, Carl having such a successful debut was pretty impressive. The success also followed his debut album, Emotional, which later got certified platinum with over 1 million sales. The album was also nominated in 3 categories at the 2001 Soul Train Awards. At this point, Carl had already established himself as a strong voice in the R&B scene and the music industry in general.
As far as, you know, Carl Thomas, that name was just built from the streets up, you know what I mean? Because I think the first time that anybody ever got a chance to hear what I sounded like was on the late, great Notorious B.I.G.'s album, Life After Death, a song called The World Is Filled, featuring myself, Too Short, and Puff Daddy. And it's kind of crazy because when people heard my voice, you know, I sound a lot older than I actually am. So they thought I was some old guy with a purple suit on from Vegas. You know what I mean? With the ruffles, with the tuxedo ruff shirt on and everything. But, you know, I'm just glad that I was able to just come out and fit right into my own slot and walk in my own shoes, you know what I mean? And it feels real good.
But get this, Diddy only started pushing Carl's career because he didn't have a choice. See, around that time, Diddy started having a bunch of PR crises, starting with the infamous 1999 NYC club shooting. Diddy, his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, and other bad boy artists were out celebrating the upcoming release of rapper Shyne's album.
Shyne.
As they were about to leave the club they were at, Diddy accidentally bumped into a guy named Matthew Scar Allen, who was a big-time street guy. It resulted in an altercation, with one of Scar's people throwing money in Diddy's face and everyone pulling out their pew-pews. And before you know it, shots started
Pew,
ringing
pew.
out. Diddy and J-Lo fled the scene, but were later arrested. However, they got off after Diddy had his lawyers pull some strings to get someone else to take the fall for it. And that
Shyne.
person ended up being Shyne, the same artist whose upcoming album was being celebrated that day. After the incident, Diddy and J-Lo's reputations took a big hit, and it was especially bad for Diddy. He tried everything he could to distance himself from it, even changing his name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy. The PR mess also affected Bad Boy Records, so sales weren't going up as usual. On top of that, Diddy had lost his most profitable artist, Biggie, just a few years prior. So Bad Boy was down bad, and Diddy needed a fresh start. And who better to give him that fresh start than the silky-voiced R&B artist singing about love and deep emotions? So between 2000 and 2001, Carl's career was on a roll. He had another moment in the spotlight when he teamed up with fellow Bad Boy artist Faith Evans for the song Can't Believe. However, you know what they say, the higher you rise, the harder you fall. Carl released his sophomore album, Let's Talk About It, in 2004, 4 years after his debut project. The album was great, but it didn't get the attention it deserved, and the lead singles, She Is and Let's Talk About It, charted poorly. Part of the reason why this second project flopped was that Carl couldn't do as much promotion as he should have due to his brother, 34-year-old Duranthony Evans, passing away. Carl's brother Duranthony was a corrections officer and pastor, and he was Carl's biggest supporter. According to reports, his death was a case of mistaken identity and gang violence. His killer had mistaken him for a member of a rival gang and taken him down before he realized his mistake. After Duranthony passed away, Carl tried to keep up appearances like he was okay, but he just couldn't continue going like that. He didn't just take a break from the music scene. He took a break from everything and even went on a self-discovery journey to South Africa and Europe. However, there were rumors that part of the reasons why Carl went on that trip, apart from mourning his brother, was that he needed space away from Diddy and Bad Boy Records because he was facing too much pressure. Carl was known for his soulful lyrics and deep songs. However, because Diddy was so desperate for a cash cow, he wanted Carl to adopt a more mainstream sound that would appeal to a larger audience and ultimately translate to more sales. Carl didn't want this though. He wanted to remain true to his roots and make music that he actually felt proud of.
I think the greatest blessing that I've had that is attributed to my longevity is my level of patience. You know, I've never tried to rush anything in my career, and I've always tried to allow things to come to me, you know, just as easy as they leave, to allow them to come just as easy, you know.
This led to tension between him and Diddy, and allegedly, Diddy.
This dude is in a lot of shots with Puffy, man. This dude right here. We the best music. I'm waiting to see what he knows or what he been into.
Diddy even started threatening him at some point. So, when Carl returned from his self-discovery trip in 2005, he was finally ready to leave Bad Boy. But Diddy was not ready to let him go, and it turned into this huge dispute between them. People also started speculating that Carl could have been facing some money issues with the label from unpaid royalties. Others felt he was being dropped due to low album sales. However, Carl cleared up the rumors in an interview where he said, "My leaving Bad Boy had nothing to do with dollars and cents, points and percentages, or contractual issues, but it had everything to do with a shift in personal priorities." It's not clear what made Diddy change his mind, but he finally agreed to release Carl from his contract and let him go. Despite all the tension behind the scenes, Carl later came out to explain that although Diddy was reluctant to let him go at first, he later agreed to, and that it was all sunshine and rainbows between them.
I think Bad Boy is just
you know, an elder statesman of the game right now. I mean, we've accomplished everything that there ever was possible to accomplish. You know, I mean, a Fortune 500 company isn't going to last 400 years, you know. But you know, it was meant for us to take that experience for what it was. It's funny to me to hear outside opinions of how other people view that situation, you know. and a lot of times, the people who talk about it are usually people who weren't close to it at all, or really didn't know anything about how it worked, or you know, there were usually people that knew someone that knew someone that knew someone who worked in the mailroom.
That worked in the mailroom.
That was, you know, but you know.
Right, like a lot of people like to say, you know, when you're signed with Bad Boy, it's like a trap and Diddy uses you or something like that. Do you believe that any of that is true?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I never got into that. You got to understand, when I was on the label, you know, I was very much, you know, like I am still to this day, it's very much family, but I existed in my own microcosm, with my own regime and my own crew, and my own after parties and my own, you know what I mean? So, you know, I mean, I can definitely tell you that it didn't happen to me. Like anything else,
it ain't happened to me.
What you know.
However, fans couldn't help noticing that it looked like Carl was selecting his words carefully, as if he didn't want to say too much to upset Diddy. This further fueled the rumors that Carl and Diddy had a
That girl is fine. Cassidy, you are a beautiful woman, man.
falling out because Diddy wanted to control Carl's career. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Rumors have been swirling around that Carl was blackballed by Diddy after he left Bad Boy because Diddy just couldn't stand the thought of his artists branching out and making a career for themselves. I mean, think about it. Almost every artist that left Bad Boy either had their lives go completely off the rails, got blackballed, or simply disappeared. When Shyne left prison after taking the fall for the 1999 NYC club shooting, he straight up abandoned the music scene and moved back home to become a politician. Then there's Mase, who left Bad Boy because Diddy was pulling some seriously shady business moves that made it difficult Mase to grow as an artist. On top of that, Diddy clamped Mase down in a contract that made it almost impossible for Mase to leave Bad Boy if what he wanted no longer aligned with the label's interests. Mase didn't just go out quietly though. He put Diddy on blast in a now deleted Instagram post for robbing his artists and leaving them with peanuts. Diddy, I heard your Grammy speech about how you are now for the artist and about how the artist must take back control. So I will be the first to take that initiative. If you want to see change, you can make a change today by starting with yourself. Your past business practices knowingly has continued to purposely starve your artist and been extremely unfair to the very same artist that helped you obtain that icon award on the iconic Bad Boy label. For example, you still got my publishing from 245 years ago in which you gave me $20,000. Which makes me never want to work with you as any artist wouldn't after you know someone is robbing you and tarnishing your name when you don't want to comply with his horrendous business model. Ooh, the read, Diddy fired back, calling Mase a fake pastor and saying Mase was the one who owed him money.
This what killed me right here. Mase is saying Puff owe him money. Puff is saying Mase owe him money.
General,
who's lying? You see what I'm saying?
The Mase thing, I did one album with Mase. One album. How much money do you think I owe this guy? One album, and then he became a fake pastor.
That's messed up.
And conned people.
That's messed up.
And then y'all gonna let him throw dirt on the God's name? I wrote each and every one. And went and conned people. And then y'all gonna let him throw dirt on the God's name?
The God's name. What? Who's the God? You? Is that you, Puffy? Is that what you trying to say?
I wrote each and every one, and each and everybody, and anybody could come and step up. Bring your receipts. But I'm not playing. I'm back outside and I'm fighting back for us. And I'm also do a little fighting back for me. You know what I'm saying? So
how much money does, and I'm just throwing this out, how much money does somebody like or Mase owe you? Because the reason I say
Mase
that,
owes me $3 million. That's facts. I got the receipt.
Second album, you gave money to do second album, never delivered.
Did the album.
Where does the receipt come from? Who, if he owes you $3 million, where's this receipt coming from? A store? Another? Oh my God! Come on, Puff. These are the lies that I'm trying to pick through and be like, that's a lie. Okay, I'm keep going. My bad.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna go back and forth with Mase. You know what I'm saying?
But Mase has always insisted that Diddy is just a terrible label boss who mistreats his artists.
I heard that from so many people.
Me and Puff was like, I felt like I did more than I got credit for, more than I got paid for.
He knows.
You felt or did you do that? Because you said felt, like
okay,
feeling.
let's clear that up then.
You saying you feeling that?
No, we're gonna keep it with, because I'm trying to be nice.
Why?
I never got paid what I was worth, and I never got the respect I was worth. So that this thing that I got for Puff is more like, you trying to keep me here. I'm not here. All my peers is up here. All my peers are bosses. When it's time, just like somebody raised somebody up, you know they did work with you, they go from your little man to maybe A&R to something else. He just kept trying to keep me right here, like he didn't want me to grow at anything. And to
That's
anybody,
crazy.
is that gonna bother you?
And if word on the street is anything to go by, then Carl also went through the same thing and got blackballed after he left Bad Boy. I mean, sure, he's still doing his thing and making music that connects with his hardcore fans, but it's just not the way it used to be. And if you were there when Carl was at his prime, then you would know that he probably would have had a much more successful career if he wasn't screwed over by his label.
For years, these guys have organized a mass organized effort to slander my name behind the scenes. So every time I say something, you're just seeing my part because their part is behind the scene. But I want you to know I'm up for it. I'm up for it. I'm anointed for it. I'm anointed to dethrone evil.
Because I heard him, and I'm giving you this, and I said something to him and walked out the studio.
It's
he
crazy.
said, yo.
Girl, Mase isn't holding back one bit in his quest to bring Diddy down a notch or two. I mean, talk about determination. He's like a dog with a bone, and he's not letting go anytime soon. Mase is spilling more tea than ever, claiming Diddy had a seriously shady habit of allegedly pressuring his artists into some, intimate encounters with him. And if they dared to say no, well, according to Mase, Diddy would drop the hammer, booting them from the label and slapping them with a bulletproof NDA faster than you can say scandal. The history between Mase and Diddy? Let's just say it's about as friendly as oil and water. And Mase? He's not one to forgive and forget, especially when there's some serious dirt to dish out. These allegations he's throwing around? They're wilder than a rodeo on roller skates. Did Diddy really stoop so low as to pimp out his own artists to other rappers in the industry? It's a plot twist even Hollywood couldn't dream up, so let's break down this tea.
If the devil can use him aggressively, then I want you to know God could use me aggressively.
Y'all, it seems like Mase is on a mission to take Diddy down, no matter what. Seriously, this guy has been relentless when it comes to Diddy, and he's definitely not letting up anytime soon. It almost feels like he was waiting for Cassie to file her lawsuit against Diddy, because since then, he has been going all out against him, and he's been going in hard. Mase, who used to be a part of Bad Boy Records until a huge fallout with Diddy that completely ruined their relationship, has been very vocal about his feelings towards him. For years, Mase has been throwing subtle shade at Diddy, and there have been all these rumors suggesting there's more to their story than meets the eye. I mean, those two have been clashing big time, and it's obvious that whatever's happening between them is super messy. The fallout between the two led to an ongoing public feud, with Mase even dropping a diss track aimed at Diddy and continuing to criticize him on social media. In his diss track, Mase unleashed strong lyrics that unmistakably called out Diddy. One memorable line went, "Ninjas try to starve my kids and give my money to his firstborn. Ninjas never pay the artists, but they love to pay the freaks." A clear reference to Diddy's alleged involvement in unconventional activities that he liked to refer to as freak-offs. What makes this saga even more interesting is that Mase dropped his track in 2022, well over a year before Cassie's lawsuit came out. This got people thinking that maybe Diddy had pressured Mase into similar situations. It's not a wild theory, considering all the past allegations about Diddy having unconventional relationships with other rappers, including some from Bad Boy Records. For those who might not be up to speed, I'm talking about the long-standing long-standing rumors that Diddy allegedly had a habit of getting too close and personal with his artists. That's how he and Cassie initially crossed paths when he signed her to Bad Boy Records. There's even talk that the real reason he signed Cassie was because he wanted her under his thumb. With Cassie under his control, she supposedly had no choice but to go along with his advances, even though she wasn't into it, according to her lawsuit. She was just 19 while he was 37, which should have been a huge red flag right there. And to top it off, her music career never really took off once she started dating Diddy. Can you imagine dating your boss, who happens to be one of the biggest and most influential figures in the music industry, and you never become a music superstar? Yeah, something doesn't add up. According to Mase, it's because Diddy deliberately kept Cassie's career under wraps. He didn't want her to become a big deal and slip out of his control. He was determined to keep her under his thumb, even if it meant sabotaging her entire career. Whenever Cassie tried to make moves on her own to advance her career, Diddy couldn't handle it. He allegedly got physical with her because he was furious that she was doing something without his permission. In her lawsuit, she said, after Mr. Combs learned that Ms. Ventura spoke to another music manager at a party in Los Angeles, he became enraged. She had hoped speaking to this manager would allow her to further grow her career and that Mr. Combs would be happy for her, but instead he became extremely angry and pulled her out of the club where the party was taking place. She claimed that he dragged her into the car and proceeded to brutally beat her. Despite trying to curl up and hide in the corner, it was no use as he allegedly stomped on her face. Even his bodyguard at the time, Roger Bonds, couldn't calm the situation.
Roger Bonds, this is the man right here. I like the way he speaks and he tells it like it is. If he don't know nothing about anything, he don't speak on it. This is the man right here. I like the security guards, man. They telling some deep stuff.
Down. She said Diddy continued to assault her when they got home, leaving her throwing up with numerous bruises and welts on her face. Anyway, let's get back to Mase. He and Diddy had their fair share of issues that eventually led to Mase leaving Bad Boy Records. And let me tell you, there was no shortage of bad blood between them. Over the years, Mase has accused Diddy of blackballing him, alleging that Diddy instructed others not to work with him in the industry as a punishment for daring to stand up against him and speak out. But luckily for Mase, he had someone in his corner, and that someone was 50 Cent. 50 Cent and Diddy have had a long-standing beef, and it only intensified over time. Interestingly, the beef started because 50 Cent wanted to collaborate with Diddy, but Diddy wasn't interested. Now, to be fair to Diddy, it wasn't about 50 as a person. According to former G-Unit member Tonya Yayo, Diddy was hesitant to sign an artist associated with guns and a gangster image, especially after the death of Biggie Smalls. Tonya Yayo said, "We had a meeting with Diddy, it was me and 50, and he took the meeting out of respect. He had deals all over the table. I wasn't saying he was going to take the deal, he might have not, but Diddy didn't want to take the deal because of all the drama. But 50 was the hottest man on the planet. If there was anyone who understood the sting of rejection from Diddy and the struggles of breaking into the industry, it was definitely 50 Cent. So it's no surprise he was quick to lend a hand to Mase. Plus, let's be real, he probably enjoyed the chance to stick it to Diddy by working with an artist that Diddy had gone out of his way to blacklist. In an interview, Mase dropped some hints suggesting that Diddy might indeed be guilty of the allegations against him. He implied that Diddy went to great lengths to turn people against him because he knew Mase had some dirt on him.
I can't blame Puff for this because I can't say he's doing it, but I can't say he's not. So if you look at the people who hate on me, right? They're from Revolt shows. Who run Revolt? The people that had the biggest problems with Mase and write the craziest stuff about Mase come from Revolt. Wow. Who run Revolt? I'm still asking y'all because
things between Diddy and Mase took a turn for the toxic for a while, but there was a glimmer of hope in 2021 when they briefly reconciled. It seemed like they were on track to mend their relationship. However, that hope was short-lived as things soured once again. Mase then dropped the bombshell that Diddy owed him a significant amount of money. What's surprising is that it wasn't from recent dealings in 2021, but rather from way back in the late 90s and early 2000s when Mase first signed with Bad Boy Records. However, Diddy clapped back at him and claimed that Mase owed him money, not the other way around, and he said, "Mase owes me $3 million, that's facts. I have the receipts." Diddy also had an interview where he claimed that Mase didn't make all that much money while he was at Bad Boy, and that whatever money he thinks that Diddy owes him is imaginary. He even went as far as to refer to Mase as a fake pastor.
You know, I did one album with Mase. One album. How much money do you think I owe this guy? One album? And then he became a fake pastor and went and conned people.
Well, hold on to your hats, folks, because it turns out Mase wasn't the only bad
I know one thing. Mase had one of the hottest songs that you ever had on your label. Well, I put it to you like, don't get me wrong, Bad Boy had a lot of hot songs, but Mase had one of them, at least.
Boy artist who got the short end of the stick from Diddy. A lot of his former artists have similar stories to tell, and let me tell you, they're not pretty. These stories have been floating around for ages, but they didn't get much attention until now. Enter Tonya Blaunt, one of Diddy's former Bad Boy proteges, who just spilled some scalding
Tonya Blaunt, y'all, here we go.
hot tea. She's pointing fingers directly at Diddy, accusing him of mismanaging and essentially destroying her career out of pure spite. And Tonya didn't just talk the talk, she came prepared with receipts, exposing how Diddy allegedly...
When I was finding out the information on Tonya Blaunt when she came back home, she looked so sad and everything, and we didn't talk. I didn't straight up just ask her, like, whoa, yo, what happened? I don't want to talk about it. That's the vibe we got. But I know one thing, it was a lot of shady dealings, but I just thought maybe you just wasn't good enough. You know, that's what I'm thinking. You know, sorry, Tonya. Hope you don't see this.
He played a role in burying
She can sing her tail off, though. She is great at a singer. Cut vocals beautifully, man. I've recorded her before and everything, you know.
careers of other artists under the Bad Boy umbrella.
Shout out to Stacey Lattisaw also.
Now, you might think this sounds like some wild accusation, but
baby.
honestly, if you've been keeping up with industry gossip, it's not all that surprising. Rumors about Diddy and his label's shady practices have been swirling for ages. People have always been suspicious of the pattern. Bad Boy signs an artist, they release a couple of hits, and then suddenly they disappear without a trace. Tonya spilled the beans, revealing that Diddy puts his artists through the ringer, leaving them so frustrated that they eventually throw in the towel on the whole entertainment biz. And she didn't just talk the talk, she had a list, folks, a list of artists who fell victim to Diddy's shenanigans. According to Mase, the reason these artists were unsuccessful was that they weren't willing to play by Diddy's very weird rules, which, let's just say, included a little bit of hanky-panky. Back in '96, Tonya Blaunt inked a deal with Bad Boy Records. Can you blame her?
That's a shot from Sister Act 2. I think it was 2 or 3.
Willing to play by Diddy's very weird rules, which, let's just say, included a little bit of hanky-panky. Back in '96, Tonya Blaunt inked a deal with Bad Boy Records. Can you blame her? Bad Boy was on fire at the time, and signing with them seemed like the golden ticket to success.
Yes.
When Diddy signed her, he had big dreams for Tonya, and things kicked off on an exciting note. She was teamed up with A-list producers and songwriters in the industry, all ready to craft an album that would drop under Bad Boy. And Diddy wasn't just sitting back, he rolled up his sleeves and got to work on producing the album himself. However, the excitement took a nosedive when Diddy's interest in her project died off. Slowly but surely, he started giving it less attention until, well, it vanished from his radar entirely. In an interview with the Washington Post, Tonya spilled the beans, alleging that Diddy completely dropped the ball, letting her project lay dormant for months that eventually stretched into years. As she puts it, there are only so many times that you can update a song. The high hopes of '96 collided with the cold reality of industry dynamics and Diddy's stubborn nature, leaving Tonya's career aspirations hanging in limbo. Tonya is spilling the tea, and it's piping hot. She's not buying into the whole excuse of how Diddy ignored her album. Nope, she's convinced Diddy played her like a fiddle from day one. And guess what? Mase sees some serious deja vu here with what went down with Cassie. It's like history repeating itself, folks. Picture this. Diddy signs Cassie to the label and then sits back, chilling while her career collects dust. And according to Mase, it's because Diddy allegedly had the hots for Tonya, but she wasn't up for playing along. So what does? He dishes out the punishment? Talk about playing dirty. But wait, it gets even crazier. Diddy had Tonya locked in the studio, cranking out tunes left and right like some sort of music-making machine. And get this, none of it was ever gonna see the light of day. She had to suffer through recording 50 to 60 songs that she wasn't vibing with, only for Diddy to pull the plug on her album. Can you imagine the frustration? And here's the gut-wrenching part. Tonya hit rock bottom. The album she poured her heart and soul into was tossed aside like yesterday's news. It was enough to make anyone feel like they were drowning. She's come forward saying she was so fed up with being ignored that she felt like there was no way out. She tried to take matters into her own hands, but thankfully, she's here today to tell her tale. She said, "It was the hardest decision because that was how I was able to provide and take care of my family at the time. It was so hard. It broke me. It really did. I went into therapy with bad thoughts and even attempted to unalive myself. I was in a Dallas hospital on a 72-hour watch. I had taken pills. I decided this is it." Fast forward to the early 2000s, and Tanya found herself dropped by the label without even a whisper of her album hitting the shelves. Can you imagine the disappointment? It left her so shaken up by her treatment from Diddy that she swore off making music for a whopping 15 years. But hey, guess who came back swinging in 2016? Tanya did, but this time she wasn't flying solo. She teamed up with her hubby and started dropping tunes like there's no tomorrow. But hold on to your hats, folks, because Tanya isn't the only one with a bone to pick with Diddy. Enter Craig Davis, who was once Diddy's golden boy, set to shine bright at Bad Boy Records. But then in true Diddy fashion, he stumbled upon the notorious B.I.G. And just like that, Craig got benched, but not before Diddy pulled a sneaky move and had Craig collab with Biggie on the remix of his hit, Flava in Ya Ear. Now here's where it gets juicy. Mase is spilling the tea, claiming Diddy straight up used Craig to boost Biggie's career. Neither Biggie nor Craig were too keen on doing the remix, but Diddy waved his magic wand of coercion, and next thing you know, they were in the studio. Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place.
Like on the remix, Flavor in Your Ear, that worked. That was just something I had to do. You know what I'm saying? That's politics. Puff asked me to do it. I did it.
Things between Diddy and Craig got even worse when Craig changed his manager to someone he believed would be better for him. Well, Diddy didn't like this and asked him to fire his manager.
And Craig Mack, they had a good relationship until Craig Mack changed his manager. When Craig Mack changed his manager, Puff didn't like him for whatever reason he didn't. He told Craig, yo, if you don't fire your manager, nigga, you can't work for Bad Boy. So Craig was having problems and issues because he refused to fire his manager.
Craig put his foot down, and let me tell you, it didn't sit too well with Diddy. Things went from bad to worse until, you guessed it, Craig found himself kicked off the roster faster than you can say hit single. But hold on to your hats, because when it comes to Diddy's roster drama, Craig got off easy compared to some. Enter Shyne, who got a one-way ticket to the slammer courtesy of none other than Diddy himself. And I'm not talking figuratively here, folks. Let's rewind to December 1999. Diddy, Shyne, and the queen herself, Jennifer Lopez, decided to hit up a New York club. Sounds like the start of a killer night out, right? Wrong. Things took a turn for the chaotic when a spat between Diddy and another clubber spiraled out of control. Tempers flared, and just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, Shyne, never one to shy away from a showdown, whipped out a gun and let off a few shots into the air. The result? 3 people nursing injuries, and Shyne staring down the barrel of a hefty list of charges. Think assault, reckless endangerment, illegal weapon possession, and attempted murder. That last one didn't stick, but you bet the rest did, landing him 10 years behind bars. But wait, there's more to this twisted tale. Now let's dive into the murky waters of conspiracy and intrigue that surround this whole Shyne debacle. Mase is stirring the pot by dropping some bombshells, claiming Diddy left Shyne high and dry to save his own hide. And hold on to your hats, folks, because it's about to get even spicier. An eyewitness claimed that she saw both Diddy and Shyne packing heat that fateful night. But wait, there's more. An eyewitness and a ballistics whiz threw us all for a loop, suggesting that maybe, just maybe, the injuries weren't Shyne's doing at all, which makes us wonder if there could have been a second mystery gunman in the mix. Yep, you read that right. Diddy's name is smack dab in the middle of this whole mess. But here's the twist. While Shyne got slapped with a laundry list of charges, including attempted murder, Diddy skated by with just a charge for having a gun stashed in his ride. And guess what? Even those charges got tossed out like yesterday's leftovers. Talk about a night that went from party vibes to a full-blown courtroom drama in the blink of an eye. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not only did Diddy allegedly skimp on the legal firepower for Shyne, but rumor has it he threw him right under the bus to shift the heat away from himself. According to whispers from his former bodyguard, Diddy may have even greased a few palms to make sure the trial swung in his favor. Now that's what I call a plot twist.
Those people were testifying, they were brought to Puff first, saying that what they saw against Shyne, what they saw Shyne do. The DA didn't even know those people existed.
Half of the people probably weren't even in the club.
Shyne said it himself, y'all.
The wild part about this is that Bad Boy Records then dropped Shyne when he was in prison. Shyne also confirmed that Diddy had betrayed him in a 2020 interview where he said, Puff apologized. He did apologize to me for that when we met in Paris. He did say that he could have handled it better, but he was under a lot of pressure from the lawyers to throw me under the bus. But Mase doesn't believe that the lawyers had anything to do with Diddy's decision because she thinks that Diddy was just being selfish. Mase had
apologize? You apologize for throwing somebody in jail for 10 years and that's supposed to fly? My bad, man. That was my bad, but I was under a lot of pressure. I did 10 years. That don't sound good to me. That don't sound
More
good
to
at
say
all.
about yet another Diddy drama. This time, it's all about the girl group Danity Kane, and let me tell you, the tea is scalding hot. Picture this, 5 fierce ladies, Andrea, Dawn, D. Woods, Shannon, and Aubrey, come together to form a band while they're on the legendary MTV reality show, Making the Band. And who swoops in to sign them after the show? None other than Diddy himself, of course. With his bad boy label backing them, everyone's thinking these gals are on the fast track to stardom. I mean, come on, Diddy's got the Midas touch, right? Well, buckle up because things...
This is crazy, man, because I tried out. I tried out for Making of the Band. Yes, I went to New York with my guitar and stood in that long line with all lead guitar players, bass guitar players, drummers, and everything. Making the Band was about making a band. Musicians. It wasn't about this artist stuff at first, and then they flipped it to this because it was cheaper, it's easier, you don't have to move all this equipment and everything. So Making of the Band used to be about making a band when it first started out, and they didn't pick me.
Took a wild turn. Diddy and Aubrey in particular were like oil and water. Aubrey wasn't about to let Diddy boss her around, and let me tell you, Diddy was itching to micromanage every little detail of their lives, right down to their outfits. But Aubrey, oh, she wasn't having any of it. She's the kind of girl who marches to the beat of her own drum, and Diddy just couldn't handle it.
Can I ask a question? What do you want to look like, though? Do you want to look like a playboy, playmate? Do you want to look like you?
I'm done with all of that.
No. What do you want to look like, though?
I'll tell you.
What do you want to look like, though?
I'll tell you. I'm not focused on me. I'm focused on what this group should look like and how I should fit in this situation.
You like big hair, though.
I don't like big hair.
You do like big hair. You like big hair. You like a lot of makeup and all that.
Actually, I don't. I don't like big hair. I don't like certain makeup. I'm very flexible with what you want to do, and I've worked with everything that you've thrown at me.
I'm not seeing the flexibility. You gaming me.
Your hair people came in today and they said this is how it needs to be.
You know what I'm talking about. You're pushing your own image, though.
I'm not worried about whether my hair is straight, curly, whatever. I'm not here in a group to have curly, straight, big, makeup, whatever. I'm here in a group to sing with my group, and that is all I care about.
Remember last year when Diddy randomly decided to give his artists back their masters? At the time, he claimed that it was a show of goodwill, saying, "It's just doing the right thing." I think that we as an industry and as a people have to look in the mirror and make a shift forward. It's about evolving, leading by example, and reforming an industry that needs it in a world that needs reform. Hold on to your hats, because we're about to unravel the mystery behind Diddy's sudden act of generosity, returning the masters to his artists. But here's the twist. It's not as straightforward as it seems. Oh no, there's some serious behind-the-scenes drama going on. So Mase, never one to mince words, called out Diddy, claiming he's been holding on to his publishing for a whopping 24 years. And get this, Mase even tried to buy back his publishing from Diddy, offering a cool $2 million after it was originally sold for a measly $20,000. But did Diddy bite? Nope. He basically told Mase to take a hike, suggesting he either match a European offer or wait until he hits the Big 5 Neo. Talk about a power move. But wait, it gets even juicier. Before Diddy handed over those precious masters, he made his artists sign an NDA, aka a hush-hush agreement. Sneaky, right? It seemed like a nice gesture at the time, but now we know better. Those NDAs weren't just about keeping things quiet. They were Diddy's way of covering his tracks. Turns out, Diddy had a crystal ball when it came to Cassie's impending lawsuit. He knew what was coming down the pipeline, so what did he do? He played the ultimate PR game, using those NDAs to spin a positive narrative before the storm hit. Talk about a master manipulator pulling the strings behind the scenes. However, some of his former artists could see through his actions and they refused to sign the NDA. And one such person is Aubrey.
And in order to get that, I have to release him for any claims or wrongdoings or actions prior to the date of the release.
This in the contract.
I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs' music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public.
So that you just got recently?
That's in the contract.
I got it a few months ago when he started doing this.
Now?
So what's happening is artists, some of them, not all of them, are being given streaming royalties and ownership back over our publishing on songs that we wrote at a time when you know that you have to stream a song 1 million times to make a cent.
Yeah.
Okay? It's hundreds of dollars. And me as somebody that's a girl's girl, I hit everyone in my group and said, absolutely do not take this deal.
She then claimed that not only would Diddy body shame them, but he also tried to hook up with them and got mad when she turned him down.
Thing you could imagine why somebody would want to fire somebody.
Can you give us a little?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas.
And were other girls doing?
I was the only one that was in those types of positions. He was the hardest person that you can work for, and it was torture. And not the work part of it, but the other stuff. Mind games, like just all the girls were so divided, and the men and the people running it had their hands in it, moving everything. Understand your worth as a woman through the men that I was around, and that was very traumatic. I don't think any of us have healed from that. Diddy would be like, you're not hot anymore, like what happened? You don't have anything, like you don't have any curves. You're looking like you're not looking like, I can't get people to think that you're my good looking person.
Now remember how I said that Diddy was obsessed with controlling them, their looks and all? Well, as it turns out, the reason wasn't because of their public image, but because he was allegedly pimping them out to other men, and he wanted them to look good for the men he was giving them out to, and his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, spilled the tea on this.
Because I heard him, and I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people, we were in the studio.
Wow.
And I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'ma drug their ass off and pick them out and pimp them out to my niggas. He said, I'ma drug them out. I'm gonna get them all on drugs, and I'm gonna pimp their ass out to my niggas. And I was like, give somebody kids, and walked out.
Mase's comments have left fans shook AF, and they left comments like, everybody knew how Diddy was twisted. This is the confirmation that we needed. We need people like Mase to expose Puffy. On God, Diddy is a snake, and Mase dragging Diddy or Puff Daddy all over the streets. Puffy has been using black excellence to camouflage nonsense. Expose these people, Mase, always conveniently blaming white people for their problems. Meanwhile, you're doing the worst to your own people. Girl, this is one hot stanking mess, but y'all let me...
See, that's the part that pissed me off when people start throwing in the race card. Why are you throwing in the race card? If a black man is doing all this negativity, so another black man shouldn't stand up and say that what he's doing is wrong? I don't understand that part. Let's leave race out of it and say what you're doing is wrong. Black, white, Chinese, Spanish, I don't care what you are. If you're doing something against somebody else's will, that is wrong.
Know how you feel about Mase exposing Diddy. Do you think more bad boy artists are ever going to speak up against their boss?
That's crazy,
Drop
man.
your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.
Shout out to Tonya Blaunt, Stacey Lattisaw, Faith Evan. These are all the people that I personally have did work with. And it's funny, man, that people have a talent, a great talent, and they can sing, they can play that piano, they can play an instrument, whatever your great talent is. And then you have a manipulator type person. You know, me, I got a little bit of everything in me, and I can manipulate somebody who is doing wrong. If I know you're doing wrong and I'm sick and tired of you doing wrong, I'm going to manipulate you, and then they see, you know, you caught up in your own web type thing. I try to be a positive person. I want to be telling the truth all the time. I don't want to put myself on any type of pedestal. I done built my own recording studio. I'm working in the yard, in the backyard, building my own stage and dance floor. I'm doing all that, all this by myself. Man, yeah, Mike, man, I'm going to come over and help you. I'm going to come over and help you. And nobody shows up. Yeah, come on over, man. I can use some help. And you don't show up, you just don't show up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to push. But I'm never, ever going to do something against somebody's will. Shame on you, Puffy. And I'm going to keep saying that. And I swear to y'all, man, if he gets out of jail on a bond, strike 4, it's something wrong with our system. It is something seriously wrong with our system. You got all this stuff out here. You got all these people saying this stuff about you. And I'm allegedly my foot. Allegedly my foot, whatever. You got people saying it. I ain't got no proof. They got them tapes. They got them tapes. All the proof is on them tapes, and you gonna let them out? Come on, man. Look here. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.